Probably a lot of it out of ego, probably a lot of it out of kind of looking and thinking we can do it better, we have the better skill, we have the better talent.
Don't make it complicated. That's my QSR world. Everything was geared up to A, do it quick, as efficiently as possible, in a few movements as possible, and then no impact on quality.
It has to be able to scale, and it has to be able to deliver at volume exactly the same way every single time.
For me, it's like automatic, it's ingrained. But for them, they have to step out, and then they're not ever done mass production.
This is Hospitality Huddles, bringing you the best conversations in hotel food and beverage.
Manage, lead, coach, repeat.
Every time I think of hospitality, I think of friendship. Hospitality allows you to be you.
Welcome to another episode of Hospitality Huddles. Bal, we're here. Vorbos offices.
Epic.
Beautiful, right?
Yeah, fantastic.
It's very good. Adam Foreman, thanks for the tip. If you want internet in your business, give these guys a shout, because if the internet is as good as the welcome, the office, the podcast studio,
Space, I mean, the kit out is just like incredible.
You'll never fail to get on a Zoom call again, put it that way. Right?
Definitely not, yeah.
It's a pro setup.
Yeah, it's a real life Zoom.
It is.
Yeah.
Real life Zoom.
Real
That's
life
why it's
Zoom.
exciting, because it's good spending even more time with you.
Yeah, because we can just put a fake screen up, I guess.
Yeah, pretend. Right, today I want to delve right into your knowledge book and into your background.
Right.
And I want to pick out the things that hoteliers can learn from QSR. And I'm going to tell you why.
Go on.
As a hotel guy, 15 years, I had a certain way of working. Went to go work in independent restaurants. We kept doing it the same way, right? I then started working in QSR, and I was watching what was going on in complete awe, because I was watching this phenomenon that we'd ignored in hotels, probably a lot of it out of ego, probably a lot of it out of kind of looking and thinking we can do it better, we have the better skill, we have the better talent. And I tell you what, I reckon if I'd have worked in QSR before I worked in hotels, I would have run even better operations than I already did.
Self-plug.
Self-plug.
Yeah.
What did Top Jaw call it? Self-nom?
Self-nomination.
There you go. Self-nomination. I run freaking great F&B operation. Until the hits or comments and it's my old GMs going,
all right, mate.
Wasn't what that appraisal looked
Send
like
you
to
like
me.
a WhatsApp. Do you remember this?
Yeah. One's on an appraisal is the best score, right?
One. Depends how you scale it, I guess.
Well, I always scaled it. One was best.
One could
Maybe
be bad,
people
one could be good.
That's a lie. I always got fives. Right. What, Bal?
Yes.
McDonald's,
Yep.
Shake Shack,
Yep.
Subway,
Yep.
by Chloe.
Yep.
That is a pretty good stack up of QSR brands that you've worked for.
Yeah.
Tell the hoteliers watching this, what can they learn from QSR?
Don't make it complicated. Don't make it complicated, you know? You can do everything from, it's coming, you know what's coming? The scoop. Everything from the scoop. Like, use just an automated proper bun toaster. You know, things like this. I go to them because that sort of stuff is ingrained in me. Don't make it complicated. Make it really easy for your chef. You can do all the skill stuff. You can like julienne your carrots if you want, but I bet you there's a machine for it, and your chef's gonna love you. It doesn't make him less of a chef. It makes him smarter. Even front of house. Don't make it complicated. Make your, if you want to buy a water, do it in 2 clicks. Not going for 6 menus to select a glass and then do the table, and make it really simple. I think overarching, that's my QSR world. Everything was geared up to A, do it quick, as efficiently as possible, in a few movements as possible, and then no impact on quality. And then even the quality methods or to get the quality metric were really easy. A time card, a timer, to make sure nothing's out of time. Just the design. I know we got an episode on design and how designing it in or out really makes life easy. And then very, very prescriptive training, like skills, how, what training. When I say prescriptive, I mean how to mop the floor properly and what the process is. I think that's what full service restaurants and or hotels can definitely take. Saying that, I was speaking to someone who operates multiple high-end restaurants for a well-known chef, and they've just launched a sandwich truck, okay, and it took them a good month because they couldn't work out in their heads the till system. And I was like, the till system, what do you mean? It's not like, it's just entering a thing and you get a ticket, right? For me, it's like automatic, it's ingrained. But for them, they have to step out, and then they're not ever done mass production. So they were scrambling in their Michelin star restaurant to produce all this high volume stuff. So they went through some hard learnings. I think they got it there now, but the lesson was I don't take what I know for granted. And it's just a different way of doing things. The service, the approach to it, it's old school, full, high-end delivery. But there's definitely a quicker route to it. There's a more efficient route to it. There's something you can duplicate more, and you can de-skill things, which you don't necessarily need to have high skill for. Chopping, cutting, juliennes, that kind of thing. And it's interesting working with the hospitality company we both worked for when we were operating by Chloe, Lebanese Bakery, all of them, the approach to it, because some of it was crazy. Some of it was crazy, and you're like...
Because it was a full-service...
It was a full-service mindset.
Group.
Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with having that mindset, but I think it's the adaptability to go and openness to go, there's a few things we can learn. You know, it's not microwaves and pressing buttons. It's not that. It's maintaining quality the best way you can, the quickest way you can.
Let's just focus on quality for a bit, because I think this is a really interesting one, is quality for me in QSR, and this is what struck out to me, is you have QSR and you develop the menu. You develop the menu items and you say, this is the standard. Generally, you don't have head chefs, exec chefs in stores. So it's someone who's a development chef going, this is the quality, this is the standard we have to serve it to, right? Then, when that goes into the stores to then be delivered to the customer, quality is about consistency. Yeah. It's not about quality of product. It's not about quality of skill, talent, whatever. It's all on consistency. As you said, it has to be able to scale, and it has to be able to deliver at volume exactly the same way every single time.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really interesting mindset to look at, especially today in hotels, where hotels don't have the cream of the crop of the talent. Maybe that's because the talent isn't there. Maybe the talent's gone to independent restaurants. Whatever the reason is, I think quality has changed, that now it's about consistency, not about maybe before what quality was deemed as. Maybe people in Michelin star restaurants might argue with me on what, but still, to be a Michelin star restaurant, you have to be consistent. If I go really granular with you now, and we look at Mackie D's, right? Everyone who's going to watch this, listen to this, can resonate McDonald's. Take me through how we build burgers in McDonald's, because I think this is, back to your thing on scoops, back to your things on like measured bottles, like we've talked about on previous episodes. Talk people through, say, a burger, a chips, and a drink in McDonald's, so you can show people the process in terms of QSR, as opposed to maybe what we have in hotels, where we'd have the bun, we'd stick it under the salamander, we'd get it toasted, maybe it might be one way one day the other day, then you put the toppings on, but it had come from different parts of the saladette. Then you'd put the burger on that had been cooked on the flat top, that again might have different cooking on it. Then you'd get a squeezy bottle, you'd squeeze it round, depends on how far the guy had cut it down the funnel or not, to how much ends up on there, or what he's feeling like, or whether he's in a rush, whatever it might be. And then you put the bun on top. It don't work like that in QSR.
No,
right?
it doesn't.
Talk people through the process, because I've just talked about the hotel process. Talk
So-
about McDonald's.
There's a few things here. So how you are producing that product. So it comes to site almost 30 to 40% done. The bun's already sliced. It's packed perfectly. It's packed in the right order. All the trays of the different buns are color coded, for example. Then the toasted bun goes in. So I'm talking about the product and how it's delivered to site. I'm then talking about the equipment used. It's pre-calibrated. You have 2 settings on the toaster. It's changed now, but it used to be like a lever. So the 2 platens are heated. One would be for the heels, the other one would be for the crowns, which would go on a tray. You would slide 9 buns in at a time, and you'd pull the toaster down, and the gap setting was perfect. The temperature setting was calibrated perfectly to toast them all the same, because the bun was cut at the perfect slice. It was never, you'd always get some quality issues, but so that bit then makes that bit done. It's easy. I can toast 9 buns in 35 seconds, doddle. Some of it was quicker depending on the bun. The tray then comes out, and my dressing table is set up with all my ingredients, which I'm opening packets. The only thing we had to prepare was the tiny little onions, which was a dehydrated onion. So it'd go in, you'd do 10 pans, and it'd have a drain. So you'd have a pan with a drain, which is that small, and that will sit in another pan, which the onions were rehydrated in water. You'd then pour it into that pan and chuck the other one underneath. So extra washing, all that sort of stuff. And all the ingredients were like that. The cheese came in a block, as you do. And then the sauce guns, they were guns, like mastic guns with the little teeth, and each teeth, it was calibrated for 1/4 of a fluid ounce, 1/2 a fluid ounce, a fluid ounce. And it just had a different colour, red, black, blue, for the different sauces. You would never put a black coloured sauce gun on the McChicken sandwich side, because it needed a different level of sauce. That always was white. The black one was for the mac sauce. Same for the funneled kind of, anyway. Ketchup and mustard dispensers, same dispenser, one side ketchup, the other side mustard. Done. It's like really simple. The grill was a clamshell, preset, programmed, right temperature, right cooking time, automatically comes up when it's done. Then you had 4 gap settings for sausage patties for breakfast, for 1/4 pounders, and for regular patties. And then you had a special. The special, so every special burger we done, whether it was McRib or a beef or whatever it was always that thick. So they never made a special which wasn't, which was a different size, because that's how the kit and the kitchen was set up. So the flexibility of the capex was massive. And then the flexibility of the setup for the dressings and how the burgers were cooked, again, you can do everything. You can change the sauce, you can change the ingredients. None of the process to do it changed. Only the product changed, but it had to be delivered in a kilo packet, so it's easy to open. It will fit in the fridges. So the product, the equipment, the spec of the items, and it's just speed. And then it was taught that this is the order you do everything in. The buns go in first, they come out, the meat goes down, the grill goes down, you start dressing. By the time you got 42 seconds, plus or minus 2, meat comes out, bang, onto the burger. The heels come out because they've gone in after. All process. Do it in this order. Don't do it in any other order. It's a bit like a mechanic. First, he has to drain the oil, then he has to do certain things in a certain order, otherwise it won't work. And then it just gets delivered to the customer. And then you've got, we used to have production charts. So it's a sales mix put into how much you think you need to hold. And it was a manual flip chart. That's what we used to have. It's automated now, and they've got, they're doing it to order. And then you'll just check the volume for the fry per person. And you'll have rack baskets. It used to be a 3-to-1 or a 4-to-1. That's how much fries, how many fry baskets to the bag, 1.5 kilo bag, either 4 or 3. And if you're really crazy and you're really slammed, you did 2, but you rarely did that. Then they bought in automated machines which
Yeah,
would
yeah.
do it, right? You've seen them, big hop up, put all the fries in, does it itself. And then the drinks, you just push in a button. Small, medium, large. Perfectly calibrated to drop it in that cup within 5 or 6 seconds.
No fizz issues.
Yeah.
Do you know what's interesting on that though? I think, and I find that super interesting. And like I say, we worked in QSR together, but I think what's super interesting from that is even development is done to a process that means it's super easy for the operator to deliver. So there's no ambiguity, there's no sending engineers to recalibrate, none of this. It's here's the special, it goes on the special setting, that's already pre-done. Everything else works within the measurements that's in the kitchen. There's no chef tasting it going, oh, well, I think this is halfway in between. So let's do 1.5 squirts, and everything's done to go, this is what's in the kitchen, this is what we have to deliver it on, and this is how we move forwards. And I know you brought up the scoops at the start, and we've got the episode on the scoops. We'll put it on the screen here. If you listen on Auden, go back and listen to it. Whenever I tell a hotelier about scoops, they look at me as though I'm Albert Einstein. Seriously.
Or like they want to shoot you.
Seriously.
Yeah.
They're like, it's unbelievable. What, you don't... No, we everything is measured, everything's done, everything's consistent, everything's delivered in the right way. We did it at Floors in Fox Hills. You know, those guys had the best ever performance in August. It delivered over what they wanted it to deliver. And if you look at the pictures now, the consistency of what we put in there in March 2024 is still being delivered in August 2025. And I think that's a testament to the scoops, to the measures, to the way that it was built, the way the recipes were built. We built that to do volume, and we built it in a way of QSR so that it was there. I always remember sitting in another hotel, and the feedback that came to them was there was a legacy comment from the owner that was always talked about. He had Caesar salad 3 days running, and it was different every single time. Mm-hmm. If you do it this way, with scoops, with measurements, with process, it makes it easier to have those elements on the pass through the coloured format spec sheet, so you don't have the big A4 pictures that people ignore, and you're doing it on colour and frequency.
Correct.
So 2 green, 3 purple, whatever it might be, 2 sauce squirts of red. You're doing it through colour and frequency, makes it easier for anyone to build it, because then you can build it in the order, so you're never going to do it wrong, because it can be delivered in the same way. And I think if I think about so many hotels, all-day dining lounges and things like that are probably doing salads and doing burgers, and they go through their old saladette, squeezy bottles, by hand, how much lettuce goes in, so there's too much lettuce to sauce to toppings, etc. I think that QSR model is a really good way, and we're not saying it's potentially for upscale restaurants and things like that, but room service departments and that cafes. Type of thing is cafes. It's super simple, and whenever I think about this topic and I take myself back, I think about banqueting. And when we used to deliver banqueting at volume, I worked in a banqueting hall that did 600 people. The way we create the dishes and the starters, etc., were ones that could be pre-done and could be on jack stacks for starters, and could be done in the auto sham that were pulled out, put in the rationale, regened and sent. So they had to be a certain height so that they didn't touch the plates. They had to be done super simple, because if you plate in 600, it has to be done in a certain way. You're doing things like fondant potatoes so that you can cook them bulk. And when I take myself back to some of that banqueting way of working, it's very similar to the process element that's in QSR.
100%.
That I think we forget as soon as we start looking at, casual menus, room service menus, that type of thing. And when we try and overcomplicate it, and we therefore put pressure on a team that we know are not skilled, we know don't have the experience and knowledge, etc. And that's why I thought it was a really good way of kind of talking and bringing that QSR conversation back to life, because even just listening to that level of detail on a burger, if we were sitting here now with an exec chef from a hotel and said, talk to me about your burger, maybe I'm generalising, but I think a lot of them wouldn't be able to explain it in the same level of detail that you've just done now, or it'd leave a lot more ambiguity around it, which is a really interesting thing to think about, essentially.
It's like chef's flair, I guess. And I think it's important in the right venue, in the right setting, or even in that same venue for different offerings. You know what I mean? It's super important. It's just process, mate. It's just process and repetition and like everything that goes into it. You said about the development. You know, they don't develop anything out of that. What we got, how can we do it with this? With discipline. You know, if you take Mahey's, we go back to Mahey's, they're always putting on a new product. Whether it's halloumi fries, different nuggets, different strips, a wrap. Because it's been developed with what they can do. And if there's a new kit, it's simple and it will fit somewhere.
Yeah.
Or someone will come and retrofit it because they know where the power is. Everything from the structure of the building to how the people operate to the equipment and the product they're making, it's all process. It's that prescripted, and I think that's a key word. It's the prescriptiveness of how you do it makes it like repetition easy.
So there we go. How to learn from QSR in hotels. If you've never worked in QSR or seen QSR properly, not just going in and ordering a dish, go and check out the film The Founder, because it has a really good way of showing the McDonald's process from day one, but also how they thought about how they would scale the business. And I think it's a really good one for any hotelier to watch and look how you can take it back. Again, it's not for every single outlet, but it'll definitely help you in the majority of outlets that you're operating and running, especially when it's casual dining. So I think that was a really good topic to do. So there we go. We're in these beautiful studios. Hopefully we're still in here next time. And we'll see you next week. You've been listening to Hospitality Huddles, brought to you by Auden Hospitality. If you want to revisit clips from this or previous episodes, make sure you visit our YouTube channel at Auden Hospitality. Thank you for listening to the show. See you next time.